What is the meaning of alone? Is time travel abstract? Was Squidward even alive during the episode? Today I'll be talking about the dark meaning of Sb-129. Get your luggage ready and let's go on a long theoretical journey. This is about time, purgatory, and reality. This is the Sb-129 theory. I've been watching Spongebob for quite a while now, and it's been 22 years since Nickelodeon released the first episode? I have been watching a lot of SpongeBob SquarePants. Out of most of the episodes, there are a handful of episodes that leave the audience with a question. I have had that experience ever since I watched the episode Sb-129. Unlike the other SpongeBob episodes, this particular episode contains a concept that many movies and cartoons covered: time travel. Unlike normal movies and TV shows where the characters simply just travel to a different time period, SpongeBob SquarePants made it way too exciting, and it's kind of fascinating how 11 minutes of a SpongeBob SquarePants episode can cover a variety of experiences that each of the characters go through. But this episode addresses that the SpongeBob world uses time travel to portray death and loneliness to a point where life seems abstract. But if Squidward was dead in the episode, what was a clarinet used for? After all, it served no purpose other than being his prized possession. Believe it or not, but this episode is ranked the scariest SpongeBob SquarePants episodes ever made, and I can understand why, since it leaves the audience with a spooky feeling and messed up childhood. If you have ever seen the alone scene within the episode, you know what I'm talking about. Time to ruin your childhood and mine, cause we're all in this together. Let's dive deep into this theory. To start off the theory, don't you think the title card is a little different from every other SpongeBob title card? If you don't know what I'm talking about, then take a look at this. Instead of the usual Hawaiian opening cards, the designers chose a space theme card with chrome font. Not to mention the narrator read the title, which has never happened before, and listen to the way he said Sb-129 in a dead tone.
Sb-129.
I believe the reason they put this is to tell the audience that this is not your average SpongeBob episode, which tells us something is behind it. What about the title itself, Sb-129? Let's break it down into two different pieces. SB stands for SpongeBob, and the number 29 is an angel number that symbolizes to believe in yourself, which is probably hinting that Squidward needs to believe in himself to quietness and peace, regardless of SpongeBob's annoyance. I just found out why the writers called the episode Sb-129. They said the episode's title, Sb-129, is its production code. SB stands for SpongeBob, and this was the 29th segment produced in season 1. Hence, 29 is what they called the episode. Well, in fact, it was supposed to be called SpongeBob 3000, but they stuck with 29 for some reason. Even though the episode was a 26th aired episode, they used 129, which means there's a conspiracy beneath it. Fun fact, the episode was called SpongeBob 129, and there is proof. The episode begins with Squidward wanting to practice his clarinet in the morning, but SpongeBob and Patrick ruined it by asking Squidward to go jellyfishing with them. Squidward quietly goes to the Krusty Krab to play his clarinet in peace. He hides in the freezer to avoid being caught by SpongeBob and Patrick.
Aha! They're finally gone! I'll be out of here in no time.
He realizes the door is locked and is stuck in the freezer for 2,000 years until the door breaks off. Bonus theory. In 2,000 years of the future, we saw a couple sponges that claim to be different people. But I believe Spongetron is actually SpongeBob, since data claims that sponges that are 3 feet wide must be 5,000 years old. Maybe Spongebob from prehistoric times was the same sponge in the future. A question that all of you might ask, what about Spongetron's clones, X, Y, Z, and so on? Well, they are just Spongebob's offsprings produced by budding, as backed up in the episode Pressure, where he introduced his budding theory. This theory could explain the reason behind his childish behavior. He must be in his 30s now. We can see his date of birth on his driver's license in the episode Sleepy Time. You might be questioning, why is Patrick there? The sad truth is that this is not Patrick, since sea stars can't live more than 8 years, so it must mean that Spongebob saw Patrick die both in the past and the present. In the episode Karate Star, Patrick chops his right arm off and reveals that sea star limbs grow back.
Don't worry, SpongeBob. I'm a sea star. My limbs grow back. See?
Then something really interesting happened. Patrick's limb grew a new body, which is fascinating.
I like the architectural detail.
Hey!
Patrick?
Unfortunately, we sea stars have limbs that grow new bodies. Hey!
I mean, he's not lying, so these sea stars could be offsprings of Patrick. Do you remember Patron having 2 heads? Well, let me explain you that this is solid proof suggesting that this is an asexual process and caused by a mutation. Also, this theory seems to contradict the Bikini Atoll theory. For those of you who don't know the theory, then the theory states that Bikini Bottom and the characters are a result of a nuclear radiation explosion. The US tests nukes on small islands in the Pacific called Bikini Atoll. This radiation allowed primal fish in Bikini Bottom to evolve, giving them an ability to talk and act different. If Spongebob and Patrick from the prehistoric times were able to talk, then this means the Bikini Atoll theory is false. This is a smoking bullet to disprove the Bikini Atoll theory. Okay, back to Sb-129 theory. Squidward meets Spongetron, who greets him in the future.
Greetings, Primitive.
SpongeBob, is that you?
SpongeBob? No! I am Spongetron. Welcome to the future.
What?
Welcome to the future.
Squidward finally realizes that he is in the future. He questions a chrome color but gets skeptical and then suddenly believes it.
He's lying! He's right!
After Squidward finds out there are 486 SpongeBob clones, Squidward freaks out and crunches, chanting future.
Sure, all 486 of them.
This is one of the biggest mysteries in SpongeBob SquarePants, and I believe there is a meaning behind it. The symbolism of crunching is to snap yourself into consciousness. Squidward believes that there is no way 2,000 years passed all of a sudden. When Spongetron dropped a brick on Squidward, he realizes that he is fully conscious. He believes he's in reality physically and mentally. He soon discovers a time machine room where he decides to go back to the past to get peace and quiet from SpongeBob. In the past, Squidward notices that he does not find it very appealing since he finds the primitive counterparts of SpongeBob and Patrick in the present. Squidward invents jellyfishing to keep them from destroying Silence. He plays his clarinet and the primitives chase after him. This is where Squidward goes through a fight and flight response. When Squidward breaks a lever on the time machine, something very strange happens. The time machine malfunctions where it flies through a time rip. It starts to flatten down, cycling through a color spectrum and utterly disappears, transporting Squidward into an empty white space called nowhere. You might think Squidward came back with the time machine, but it doesn't seem like that. How would Squidward survive being flattened with the time machine and be outside the time machine? The writers sneaked Squidward's death in the episode without your conscious mind sensing it. The Squidward in nowhere is probably the soul of Squidward. This place seems way too abstract to be reality. Squidward calmly says alone, and random voices keep saying alone, which scares him shitless.
Alone. A lot of you guys think that the writers just planned this out of the blue and it's just a scene, but I believe that this scene is addressing purgatory. If you don't know what purgatory is, then it's a process where a dead person is temporarily punished so that their soul is ready for heaven. Wait, so does this mean that Squidward is actually dead? Well, there is strong evidence to prove this point. Purgatory is a kingdom of nowhere in which there is no limit of how empty it can be, and it correlates with the episode since other than Squidward, his clarinet, and thoughts, there is nothing in this empty space. But one question I still have is that what is the clarinet even doing there? Unfortunately, there is no way to explain that. Except for the clarinet being part of Squidward's life. Squidward hates everything in life. The only thing that he ever likes is his clarinet, just like SpongeBob likes his spatula and Mr. Krabs likes his dollar. One thing I forgot to point out is the disturbing alone voices that scared Squidward. Hello.
alone.
I believe those are the voices of other people who also wanted to escape from their neighbors and died. Maybe those colorful looking squares are fragments of fish spirits who lost their lives in nowhere. Thankfully, Squidward falls through the floor to reach the time machine where he happily appears in the present moment where he actually exists. Maybe something allowed Squidward to return to the time where Squidward was alive. I'm sure whoever sent Squidward to nowhere gave him a second chance to return to Bikini Bottom. I also think that in some way, nowhere is actually Bikini Bottom version of hell, which actually makes a lot of sense. I'm sure if the writers really hated Squidward as a character, they would have used this storyline to kill him off. And that's the Sb-129 theory. I can't believe the episode had a dark side, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. We finally revealed the truth of the episode Sb-129. Thankfully, Squidward escaped nowhere by falling through the floor. I can't imagine SpongeBob SquarePants without Squidward, so I'm glad he came back. With that being said, please check out my other theories where I uncovered the meaning behind a character and an episode. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to never miss another theory.